So yeah, a lot happening around Diablo 4. In fact, so much so it begs the question, is Diablo 4 going to evolve into Diablo 5? Here's the headline right here. That is what Blizzard talks about. We got some new updates from them. And also, they highlight the biggest changes happening to the actual DNA of this game, even beyond Season 4. So that's a big one. And when will we eventually get another public test realm? It seemed to be very popular within the community. So yeah, we have a warning about that, by the way, from Blizzard as well. And is Diablo 4 eventually going to become so technologically advanced in terms of graphics and upgrades that they will have to drop the PS4 and Xbox One? We have some takes on that one as well from the dev team. But I say we start here and dive into this brand new article and interview with the Blizzard dev team about what is happening with Diablo 4 as a whole, even beyond Season 4. Of course, they're really using these seasons to test out what is going to be happening permanently, perhaps. They're like kind of testing it out. Let's get into it right now. So this is what they said right here. It says, right now, loot in early stages is disposable. You're like, okay, this will carry me through World Tier 2, but I'm going to need a Sacred in World Tier 3. I'm going to need an Ancestral in 4, so I'll take it, wheel it for 10 levels, and throw it away. Now, this notion of I can start to build and invest in my loot in the same way I build and invest in my character. So now it's not disposable anymore. In fact, you're working to go. I can make it really custom by putting double movement fixes, and I can move even faster than I could before because I can choose how to customize it. So yeah, it seems like they're really tapping into the fact that they don't want everything to just be throwaway and disposable for the future of this game. They really want you to kind of like, I guess you would say, build a relationship with perhaps your favorite weapon and really be able to build upon it as you level with your character as well. So that's really, really cool to note there. Now, furthermore, says this part of the change is also to make it more approachable. When you got heavily into the itemization or the loot of Diablo 4, it could be a little intimidating with all the different attributes and affixes. It was actually very overwhelming for many people. Now it says you speed up when running away from things that are chilled. There are a lot of conditional things that could get complicated. It was hard to know, is that thing that just fell on the ground, do I want to pick it up or not? That's really what Season 4 is about addressing, making things much clearer, and that what you're looking for on the ground, you know what you want right away. And then you go in and start crafting how you want to adjust it using the tempering system and the master working system as well. The idea you have ownership about how your loot progresses through the game really empowers the player. Now it says it's the same thing with the codex. So there's some changes happening with the codex as well. If you're not familiar, people would have this notion of, oh, I found this pair of boots that have this attribute that I want to save for later. So I'm going to fill my stash or I'm going to extract it and save that. Now it all just goes into your book. You just extract it and then it just goes into your book. The best one you extract is the one that's in the book, and you could apply it whenever you want. That is such a nice change. Now it says this idea of I've always got to fill my stash with 2 backups because I'm going to want one in tier 3 and I need one in tier 4. That kind of thing is not part of Season 4 and the game moving forward. So yeah, a lot of this stuff is going to be kept throughout, it seems like, the life of the game. These are very, very big changes, and kind of reminds me of what they did with Cyberpunk 2077, kind of like ripping out the guts and redoing the entire RPG system of that game. This is very, very extensive, and I think a lot of people might actually return to this game because of what they're doing here. But also, there's another byproduct to all of this. Check it out right here. It goes on to say this. So there's this kind of stuff where we're freeing up your stash, so that's great. Simplifying how you think about your loot and giving the player more ownership and accountability, being able to go, I want a pair of gloves that does this, and I could go make it myself. So they want to really offer some more freedom when it comes to player choice in terms of loot progression. So that is very cool, because it did feel like once you entered a world tier, you were ultimately like forced, absolutely forced to move on from whatever weapon that it felt like you just obtained. So it's nice to see that they're taking this direction. And we got to talk about nerfs and balancing the game, and of course, making it fun at the same time so you could chase this godlike build. But check it out. Here's what Rod Ferguson had to say about this. He says, it is for sure, in order to fully test things, we want things to get out of balance and have things be overpowered. to see where the limits are, to see where we've gone too far or not far enough. And this is where the public test realm comes in real handy. Everything is very much for testing purposes. They warn everyone, hey, this is not going to be concrete. Be prepared. Now, they say this, the hard work begins now for us, where we look at the results of the PTR and go, okay, how do we take what everybody's finding really fun, but make it in a way that works in the game that's actually fun to be part of? We saw all those clips of the fire and dust devils. If you scroll down here, they do highlight this clip right here, who is from Rob2628. I've seen his stuff. Yes, great builds. As you can see, this is absolutely crazy. His barbarian dust devil build. And they also spoke about they expected performance to take an absolute monster hit. But yeah, check out his channel, his Twitter and stuff. I'll source everything in the description below. But he gets absolutely crazy with those builds. And I bet the devs were like, oh, God. Yeah, I'm surprised his machine didn't absolutely freeze up during that. But yes, goes on to say this, for a crazy spectacle, it's fun for a moment when you're like, this is insane. But if you were in a party with that person, or even as the player, and you can't see the ground or the monsters because your screen's entirely covered with fire and dust devils, that's not actually going to be that fun day in and day out. So you have to find the right balance between, I want that spectacle, that I found a way to break the game, but at the same time, you have to be responsible to the other players in the game and to yourself. You don't want to ruin it for yourself. But one thing they did highlight here is that every other season, you really begin to see the feedback from the community unfold. So by season, I would say 6, you would see feedback from season 4 really taking hold. Here's what they had to say about that. It says, that's the joy of seasons. Seasons become this test bed where we know for roughly 3 moments, we'll try something, and if it works, like Blood Harvest worked so well in season 2, that we were just like, there are lots of things we could do with Helltide down this path. That's what you're seeing showing up now in season 4, all that experimentation with Helltide. Now it says it doesn't come free. That's the thing. It's not like there's some switch where we're just like, oh, no more monsters, click that and we're done. Every time we improve the density of the monsters in the world to fight, to make it more action-packed, there's a bunch of engineering and optimization going into that. But it seems like they might even have bigger plans for Diablo 4 in the far out future, because I did touch base a little bit about this and it piqued my interest. Check it out right here. IGN asked this question. To follow up on that, do you see a situation where you have to make a difficult decision about bringing a new feature to Diablo 4 that isn't viable on what is very old hardware at this point? Or are you committed to having a consistent experience across all platforms Diablo 4 launched on? And they responded saying this, there's always a time and a place for when maybe it's time to no longer support a platform. However, I confirm I don't think we're at that time currently. But we have a long road for Diablo 4. And so we do talk about, hey, we have this idea for a feature, but maybe it's not a feature our minimum specs or Gen 8 players can support. So it's not something we can do today, but we keep pushing the boundaries on that. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what big features they're actually mulling over when it comes to essentially dropping old hardware and needing to push forward. That's really a big debate. Like in the case, I always bring up Cyberpunk. You guys know that. In the case of Cyberpunk, they should have known better to even attempt to try to release that game on PS4 and Xbox One. They should have just moved on from that. So the question is, at what point will we see Diablo 4 kind of move on from like last gen stuff? Could there be big features in the future that they really might want to tap into here down the road? Now, also, we do have this right here. It says, Blizzard is afraid of spoiling Diablo 4 seasons with regular public test realms, but says the success of season 4's does point in the direction of something we'd want to continue to do. So yeah, there's been a lot of leaks regarding season 4 because of the public test round. They say that they were definitely not intentional and they want to keep that under wraps. So they're going to be very cautious about rolling out a public test round for perhaps even like season 5. They do want to be careful despite it being popular with players. So we'll see what they do with that. It's kind of like a warning from them saying, hey, don't expect a public test round every single season. They're fun, but also we know that we have to have our limits. Now, mentioning leaks, we do actually have some leaks. Again, take these with a grain of salt, but IGN did ask them about the leaks, and from the response, it's kind of telling. They had no comments about it, of course, but To me, it seems like these leaks might end up being true. We shall see. So it goes on to say this right here. Diablo 4 Season 4 appears to be focused around the Iron Wolves. Now, based on assets found in a data mine for Diablo 4's public test realm, it seems like Season 4 will revolve around the Iron Wolves faction in some way. Now, the Iron Wolves are a major faction of mercenaries in the Diablo franchise that have historically been based out of Kazakhstan and who made a name for themselves defending Karast against a demonic invasion. Now, in Diablo 2, they serve as a Hyrule mercenaries available to join players on their quest, while in Diablo 3 and Diablo 4, they make minor appearances as NPCs. And there are some speculations here. It goes on to say, would we perhaps see them as some sort of new companion that can join you on your journey? I myself, I always love when they add companions to games. I think they can add a lot, especially in terms of like just being able to have that like adventure with others. You guys know me. I love Dragon's Dogma 2. I love this sort of thing. As long as it doesn't get annoying and they don't say redundant dialogue, I'm good. Because some of those pawns in Dragon's Dogma 2 can drive you freaking nuts. But yes, back to Diablo 4. Yeah, it'd be really cool to see companions that matter. And it would also be neat if they had a season revolving around companions that you can kind of upgrade along the way as well. I think that would be neat. But anyway, let's get into your top comments about my previous Diablo 4 video, which, by the way, it's been a minute. Let me tell you what. I meant to hop on this news a lot sooner. It's just that I have been, was recovering from, hernia surgery. So, yeah, that's been a whole ordeal. But anyway, let's get into this. So, DJ for Aces says, most of us don't like the Diablo 4 monetization, period. We paid between $70 and $100 to play the game. The last damn thing I want to do is pay $25 for a cosmetic set, $30 for shiny portals, or $60 for horse skin plus other stuff. Yeah, I know it's a bundle, but it's still ridiculous. I agree. But yeah, when it comes to monetization, it seems like they've been very, very quiet about their plans to perhaps reduce prices in the shop. That sure would be nice given the current state of the economy and stuff. Now we have this. Grin Ball says this. I wouldn't necessarily mind paying $5 or something for it. Whoever wrote that should mind paying for any amount of money for a portal recolor. That's exactly why gaming is in this state. That sort of thing should be free. Dear God, that should be in like the free battle pass or whatever. Now it says knowledge to come. And it says if they think someone's going to farm Uber Durell 1,000 times and not get a grandfather or Shaco and come back next season, they are high on drugs. And then we have this one. J Striker 90 says, spend the $35 on Last Epoch. It's been so fun. Man, I still need to play that one. It says it's been so fun. The skill sets are massive yet comprehensive. It's worth every penny. Yeah, I've been so busy in Dragon's Dogma 2 lately and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. And they've been like fun distractions during my recovery. But yes, now it's time to get serious. Perhaps I will get into Last Epoch. I know that V Rising is also going to be seeing an update here. I think it's like April 18th, like it's V Rising version 1. And then you have to remember that, yes, we are getting a little game called No Rest for the Wicked, which I think is just, it looks brilliant. I can't wait for that game. But anyway, yeah, excited for what's actually happening in April. We'll see. But thank you all so much for watching the latest happenings around Diablo 4. I meant to get you guys this news earlier, but yeah, I obviously have reasons that I couldn't get it to you. But yes, I'm back on Diablo 4 with the news, and I plan to cover some really cool stuff happening here in April. Look out on the channel. You'll definitely want to pay attention. Trust me, some really interesting things going out here very, very soon. But thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.